Hello and welcome to our first show of 2024 here at This Month in Master Duel. It's always exciting to be here doing this show. My name is Ed.
And my name is Ibriz, and I'm very happy to be here with Ed to present this month's Master Duel updates.
It's always nice to see you, Ibriz. Are you looking forward to this show?
Very much so, and I know that you are too, because of a certain secret pack themed after something very dear to the both of us.
You're dang right, and we'll be getting onto that in just a bit. But before then, let's take a little bit of a rundown of what this show is all about. This month in Master Duel basically revolves around us talking about the recent update to Master Duel for you, the players of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. So as you can see on the screen, we have a quick 60-second update, which I'm going to make Ibriz do in just a moment, talking about what's been and what is to be in the world of Master Duel.
I will do my best.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Because then there's more that you're going to be involved in, because we're going to talk about a selection pack, a secret pack, and then you're going to be taking part in a duel.
Perhaps the most intimidating part of this entire show, a duel in which I am dueling.
Cautiously optimistic, I believe is how you're feeling.
Cautiously optimistic indeed.
Well, we'll see how that goes, but before then, it's time to set you your first challenge. 60 seconds to recap everything for the last month or so. Do you think you can do that?
Just as long as it is actually 60 seconds and there's no reduced timer, much like the reduced timer in the Extreme Duel that we saw in December.
Excellently done.
Thank you.
Excellent.
That is one less thing to fit into that 60 seconds.
Oh, you crafty man. Okay, right. So you knew what you were doing, right? Okay. Are you ready? Your time starts now.
Okay. Given that we started with an Extreme Duel topic, let's do the other one as well, the 2024 LP. Moving on from that, we have another event, by the way, in the form of the Duelist Cup that did take place in the middle of December. But let's rewind to the start of December when we had a couple of really cool secret packs and a selection pack back then. The secret packs were, of course, the Bizarre Playing Board and the Dragon Kings from the Abyss,
Very
themed
good.
after the Bestial.
Yes.
And the selection pack was the beginning of the next journey, in which we saw the conclusion to the branded, that extra Albion the Sanctified Dragon coming in as well. And, you know, this is a card that really made a splash in the aforementioned Duelist Cup.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, as a result of the Duelist Cup, you'll see a Forbidden Limited list that did see some of the more popular decks have to make some adjustments as of today. And speaking of today's updates, some secret pack, some selection pack, there's a lot of good stuff coming your way.
That was bang on 60 seconds, Ibriz.
I panicked and therefore didn't say the names of the packs, but I'm sure we'll go into that in a little bit of time.
That's the point of the show, Ibriz. We're going to be talking about it in great detail, but great job, 60 seconds, well summed up. So let's touch on some of the stuff that you mentioned. So firstly, let's talk about the Duelist Cup.
So Duelist Cup was really interesting to see, of course. December 2023, we saw quite a few of the more popular decks from the earlier months actually go lower down in tiers as the branded did begin to rise with the advent of the new cards in the beginning of the next journey. In addition to the branded decks, we saw Pearly continue to establish dominance, the Vanquish Soul, and of course Dragon Link that has been a consistent competitor even back in WCS 2023 Master Duel.
Now it's interesting that you bring up Dragon Link because something else you mentioned in your 60-second recap was our Forbidden Limited list coming to Master Duel that actually seems to be affecting Dragon Link quite a bit.
Yeah, Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon, of course.
Forbidden.
Yep. That card is very consistent for the Dragon Link deck, really a key component to a lot of the strategies, adds a lot of reliability by sending cards from the deck to the graveyard and just recycling and really offering a lot of consistency there.
Wyver Buster as well, it's another dragon now on the Forbidden list.
One of the ones that you want to send to the graveyard to have the effect of the synergy with the Black Dragon Collapse Serpent.
And now some of the other cards on there, excuse me, Fenrir is now down to 1. And Fenrir is quite a stable card, not only in Kashtira, but across other things as well.
Yeah, Kashtira Fenrir, it turns out banishing a card face down is very valuable in almost any deck, especially when you can special summon the card that does utilize that. So seeing that does mean it's less likely to see that as the turn 1 opener for a lot of the more popular decks. In addition to that, we saw the Pearly decks that we mentioned earlier also take a hit to the consistency with the Xyz materials in the form of the continuous spells, quick play spells, being reduced.
Yeah, Delicious Memories now down to 1 and Pretty Memories at 2. So Pearly being hit quite a bit. So it's interesting to see how the Forbidden Limited list, as well as some of the coming releases, might affect some of the format at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely, because these are the decks that did do very well in the December Duelist Cup, which is the most recent competitive showing. for our top level Master Duel players, so it's really intriguing to see where they go from here.
And speaking of where we go from here, I'll tell you where we go from here, Ibris. We go from the Forbidden Unlimited list to talking about our selection pack, which is none other than Indomitable Pride, which features
Super Heavy Samurai, Gold Pride, a bit of Visas as well.
Yeah, and some Nemurelia, or Nemurelia, which is very exciting that we've got all these. People really like Gold Pride and they really like Super Heavy Samurai. And Super Heavy Samurai really getting some quite exciting cards. And we're going to touch on all of this in some serious detail. But before that, let's have a quick look at a highlight reel. So that is Indomitable Pride, our selection pack this month, which is very exciting, Ibris.
Yeah, very exciting indeed, especially for fans of the Super Heavy Samurai archetype.
And of course, the Gold Pride. Don't forget Gold Pride. They're gold. They're first place.
Cannot forget Gold Pride, indeed. Dreaming Nemurelia as well, making an appearance with the various support cards, and one more for the Visa's Starfrost Adventures.
I know, almost coming to its end there. We've had Mannadium, and now we get to see it carry on. But let's talk about that Super Heavy Samurai package, because we have some very exciting, well, big boss monsters that are the feature of this, but very exciting support.
Yeah, the Super Heavy Samurai Brave Masaruo, of course, coming in as that next level synchro monster, 4,000 defense points, really formidable, and even replenishes your hand.
Now, this is interesting because Soulbreaker armor was one of the cards that you could have used with this, and the 4,000 defense you'd bring to 0 and it would inflict that to the opponent. But now that's on the Forbidden Unlimited list, which means this is probably taken away some of that real ferocity, which might really be worrying some people in the meta.
Yeah, but definitely still very formidable, the Super Heavy Samurai. If not because of this card, then certainly because of the other one that is releasing alongside it. I'm of course alluding to Super Heavy Samurai
Prodigy Wakaushi.
Exactly.
Now you can clearly see this card. This is one of the pendulums, which obviously circumvents the Super Heavy Samurai spell graveyard effect thing, but it also works with Scarecrow as well.
Yeah, so Wakaushi here, again, as you mentioned, because Super Heavy Samurai can't use spell or trap cards, the fact that it's a pendulum lets it act as a pseudo spell card in a way. In addition to that, it's a tuner, so these synchro heavy strategies can really rely on it. You mentioned the Scarecrow as well. Being able to access another Super Heavy Samurai essentially for free is just super valuable for the strategy.
It certainly is. Now, speaking of that strategy, we're going to take you guys through exactly how you can play those Super Heavy Samurai cards. So you guys can now see this on your screen. So Ibris, why don't you take us away with how Super Heavy Samurai is going to work?
Yeah, so going into this, you have Super Heavy Samurai Soul Piercer in your hand, and of course, because you need non-spell or trap cards to make Super Heavy Samurai do their thing, you essentially just need to combo that with any non-spell or trap card, so any monster card, basically.
Right.
Eventually, you will link into the Super Heavy Samurai Scarecrow, and then use that to get access to the two big pendulum monsters of the Super Heavy Samurai archetype, the aforementioned Super Heavy Samurai Prodigy Wakaushi, and the Super Heavy Samurai Monk Big Benkei. Once you set those scales, you can use their effects to then climb into the effect of the Super Heavy Samurai Scarecrow. Going from there, you'll synchro into Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon, resolve the effects of all of the cards on the field that you've just used. So Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon, the Soul Piercer, the Wakaushi, and then eventually go into Baron de Fleur, a formidable boss monster for any synchro themed deck.
It certainly is a familiar monster, and one that we all know. We've all seen it there on various different decks. The fact that this is another one of those archetypes that can build into that is very, very interesting and exciting for those of you who want to be playing Super Heavy Samurai at home. But that isn't the only archetype we're going to be discussing today. Although Super Heavy Samurai is good, there's more to discuss. For instance, we have Nemurelia.
Indeed, we do have Nemurelia, and of course that Dreaming Nemurelia, the eponymous card of the archetype, strong pendulum monster.
It is. That revolves around banishing, etc. And also what's quite nice is the entire thing revolves around dreaming Nemurelia, who's asleep, and all the other cards are all part of her dream. And they're sort of these quite sort of strange but childish monstrous creations as well that you build up to in the deck.
Yeah, very powerful card, but also quite difficult to summon, requiring no cards in your extra deck.
Interesting. Now, we're going to have a quick look and see exactly how you can play this archetype. So you can see this on your screen. Ibris, over to you for Nemurelia.
So Sweet Dreams Nemurelia, of course, coming out to add Dreaming Nemurelia to your hand. Probably can't summon it at this stage because you more than likely have cards left in your extra deck. Therefore, let's see what we can do with a pendulum-scaled Dreaming Nemurelia to add the Dream Tower of Princess Nemurelia to your hand, and then banish some extra cards from your extra deck. From there, Ed?
From there, you can add Nemurelia Dream Devourer Reveal and also Nemurelia Dream Defender Couette to your hand. And once you've summoned them out, you can send Couette to the graveyard using the Reveal effect, and then you get in to Nemurelia Louvre.
And from that point onwards, it's probably going to be your opponent's turn, but you've made a fairly significant step towards banishing your entire extra deck.
You certainly have. You've set yourself up pretty nicely there, which is always a good thing. So that's exactly how Nemurelia works, but we mentioned earlier, and also we mentioned last time, Mannadium, and this is Visa Amritara, who has some synergy with that.
Yeah, Visa Amritara, of course, that next step in Visa Starfrost's journey. It's a synchro, so you hope for synergy with the Mannadium, but as well as that, it does destroy one of your monsters, which again really helps with the likes of your Mannadium Meek and the other Mannadium tuners, just to help you access those higher level monsters.
So how exactly does this card synergize with Mannadium? Well, let's take a look. So here is that Mannadium combo here with Visas Amritara. So Ibris, how does this all kick off?
So like most Mannadium combos, it kicks off with Mannadium Rhymeheart. Eventually, you'll work your way via Mannadium Abscission towards Peaceful Planet Calarium to get Visa Starfrost. And where do we go from Visa Starfrost? Into a special summon to Mannadium Meek, and via the effect of the Peaceful Planet, we can then access a higher level Mannadium Meek, synchro it with Visa Starfrost, and get to, synchro it with Mannadium Rhymeheart to get to Visas Amritara.
So basically it revolves around Meek to get us into this new Visas card.
Exactly, and once the Visas card resolves, it can then destroy the existing Meek, and then allow you to synchro again with the higher leveled Meek and the Visas Amritara.
Well, I'm sure we'll be seeing that making its way into some of those ranked matches that we see in Master Duel. But speaking of ranked matches, one of the archetypes that you're very likely to see is the Gold Pride archetype, which has just been introduced today.
Yeah, and Gold Pride, of course, something that a lot of people are very excited about, especially those that like the Punk archetype.
Yes, it's very synergistic with that, and people are going to really like Gold Pride Star Leon, which is the sort of main card that people are really thinking about in this. Talk to us a bit more about this card.
So, much like the rest of the Gold Pride archetype, this card benefits from you having lower life points than your opponent. Surprise, surprise, this is why a lot of people like to use it with the Punk archetype. The Gold Pride cards really add an extra layer of disruption, thereby interfering with your opponent's established field, and also the possibilities and opportunities that they have afforded to them.
Now, this is one of those decks that people are really going to see a lot of as we go forward into these ranked matches. So, let's go quickly through exactly how it works. So you can see these here on your screen. So when it's your turn and you've got Gold Pride Captain Carry in hand, you can summon that and then activate the effect and add Gold Pride Start Your Engines to your hand before setting that and then ending your turn. Essentially, this is the main loop that you're going to see with this deck. So when you pass over to your opponent, you then get to activate Gold Pride, Start Your Engines, after your opponent has summoned a monster. Then, this is the neat trick, Ibris. You have to reveal basically 3 monsters, but if you reveal 3 Gold Pride Leon, that means they have to pick Leon and you get to summon Leon and then destroy a target monster. And then you can synchro that with Captain Kari to make
Gold Pride Star Leon, and if your LP is lower than your opponent's, you can then destroy another monster, and then during the end phase, you can tag out into the Gold Pride Leon again. The effect activates, Captain Carry comes back from the graveyard, you add another Start Your Engines to your hand, and then you repeat again, destroying again and again, continually denying resources and continually building a lead in the race that the Gold Pride are participating in.
That's the loop you need to know. It's like a lap. See? Racing, laps, loops, it all makes sense.
There's victory in there somewhere.
Exactly, somewhere in there. But that's the main bit you need to know if Gold Pride is what you want to play. And that is available now in Indomitable Pride, which you can get in the store as of today. So make sure you guys do go and spend some of your gems in there to see if you can build a good deck of Gold Pride. I mean, I think it's the one that we're probably going to see quite a lot of at the moment.
Probably with the punk archetype that we mentioned before, but then again, I wouldn't count out Super Heavy Samurai or Nemurelia or Mannadium.
No, indeed, and we've obviously just gone through all of those, and we've got plenty more to talk to you about here in this month in Master Duel, but before that, we've got a couple of quick videos to show you.
Rush Duel has been added to Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links! Accelerate with Rush Duels from the get-go! Normal summon or set many monsters from your hand! You can draw each turn until you have 5 cards in your hand! Load your road to victory! Let's start together! Flip the tables with Rush Duel! Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links! Duel even more with Rush Duel! Campaign underway!
Yu-Gi-Oh! Age of Overlord! Swing into action! Seek the secrets of the Snake Eye! Discover the tomb of an ancient king! Your path to the top begins here! Age of Overlord, available now! 9 cards per pack, each pack sold separately.
To this month in Master Duel. So, earlier we've been talking about the new selection pack, seeing Super Heavy Samurai, Gold Pride, plenty of very exciting cards to talk about, but for us, this is the most exciting part of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. The secret pack that we alluded to earlier, of course, featuring some of our favorite archetypes in the game.
Dinosaurs in Transcendentalism, the brand new secret pack that you guys can get your hands on today, which features so many exciting cards, not only for me and my dinos, but also for Dinomorphia as well.
Yeah, Dinomorphia, of course, being one of those archetypes that has really taken off recently. The fusion monsters really hitting heavy. I'm really excited to see what exactly this deck can do.
Well, speaking of, let's talk about one of the Dinomorphia cards that's coming, which is Dinomorphia Intact.
Yeah, so I mentioned that Dinomorphia has been popular for a while now. That is almost the entirety of the deck. Dinomorphia Intact was a notable absence, and this is its Master Duel debut in this secret pack. It is a card that acts as insurance policy against the likes of Ash Blossom and Max C when they're used against your fusion traps.
Well, speaking of fusions, something that's quite irregular for dinosaurs is to have fusions, and some of the cards, well, I say for dinosaurs, for my dinosaurs, for you it's pretty par for the course, but for me, Ground Zeno is one of the new cards that's been introduced for dinosaurs. Now, this is a spell card that lets you add 1 tuner dinosaur or normal monster from your deck to your hand and then destroy a card in hand, and you know very well about the destroying part of the dinosaur archetype.
Yeah, Baby Ceresaurus, of course, it's very
or Pteranodon.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It basically revolves around those two, but the normal monster's the throw-off.
Yeah, the normal monster, I think Dinosaur normal monster, I'm thinking Cavazels?
Yeah, okay, yeah, Cavazels, a good throwback. So basically, the way a lot of these work is you have the Transcendosaurus different monsters, which are all these very big ones, and they rely on having a normal monster in your grave, because if that monster gets destroyed, you can recycle it back into your deck. So you can have Mega Smasher X for a level 4, you could have Frostosaurus, or you could have Cavazels if you really wanted.
Hey, we spoke about Grand Marju de Isa earlier.
We did. There's plenty going on there. So, like I said, with those, you get loads of different effects, but also there's this Banish from Graveyard effect, which then lets you fusion summon, and you get to fusion summon the enormous Transcendosaurus Gigantosaurus.
Wow.
Which is incredibly strong, 3,800 attack, and lets you add a monster card from your graveyard to your hand, and then, like I said, if it's destroyed, you get to shuffle it all back. There's also Xenometeorus, quite a staple part of the new sort of loop that you end up having to do with all of your hand with these new Transcendrate cards, but the big one is Transcendosaurus Meteorus. Now, this card is such an exciting card because not only is the design absolutely awesome, it's got incredibly good attack. 3,500 is exactly the same as Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, the previous amazing boss monster. But with this, it also has a quick effect where you can destroy 2 of your own monsters to special summon it.
So that is 2 baby Ceratosaurus, resolving almost free?
Yeah, exactly. And then you get to summon that out. And because it's quick effect, you get to do it on your opponent's turn. And this, like Gigantozauler, has that normal monster recycle mechanism as well.
Yeah.
Which means if that does get removed by your opponent, it's going to come back. And also because that monster is now in your deck, you can also use Ground Zeno again. And Ground Zeno will help you get another normal monster out. So if you're running 3 Ground Zenos and you've got at least 1 Transcendosaurus Meteorus, you're laughing.
Sounds like a pretty straightforward combo, but is there a way you can maybe walk me through it?
Well, let's take a look. So I could do a TED Talk on this, so I'll start my TED Talk. As long as you have one of the babies in hand, we've got Baby Ceratosaurus in this example, and Ground Zeno, you have a 2-card starter. So you activate Ground Zeno, then you get Zeno Meteorus, one of the new cards. You destroy the Baby Ceratosaurus, and then you chainlink 1 Baby Ceratosaurus, chainlink 2 Meteorus.
Okay, pretty straightforward so far. A lot of your own cards being destroyed. I'm noticing a trend here.
This is going to become a more common trend as we go through. So, you summon Xenometeorus, and then you also summon Petite Pteranodon. You activate Meteorus, destroying that Petite Pteranodon that we've just seen. And then Meteorus will summon out Megalosmasher X. Or you could summon out Frostosaurus.
Cabazul's also a viable option here.
Yes, or Cabazul.
Less common, probably,
Slightly,
than the others.
Still perfectly valid. Petite Pteranodon will then summon out Soul-Eating Oviraptor. And for those of you who have played dinos or played up against them, this is a loop that you're probably likely to have seen before. So you activate Oviraptor and get Miscellaneousaurus, which is at 3 here in Master Duel.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that as well, being a Dinomorphia player, as we discussed earlier.
Now, you send the Miscellaneousaurus to your graveyard, which protects all your dinosaur monsters, but it has that second effect where you can banish it and as many cards as you need to summon a card of that level. So you banish Miscellaneousaurus and one of the babies to get Baby Ceratosaurus out, and then Oviraptor's effect will resolve, and that can summon out Petite Pteranodon. So with Megalosmasher X and Archosaur, you can get in Gigantozauler, the Transcendosaurus Gigantozauler, this massive fusion summon with 3,800 attack and the ability to recur that Megalosmasher X or Frostosaurus to keep it out there. And then from the graveyard activation, you can get double evolution pill. You've got plenty of options here.
And I'm very impressed by large dinosaur type fusions.
I mean, aren't we all? You're a man who likes your fusion-based dinos because you are, of course, none other than a Dinomorphia player, which we'll talk about in just a moment. Remember, you guys can get your hands on those cards and all of the Transcendrate cards right now in Transcendentalism, the new secret pack available now. Go get your hands on it and build the perfect Dino decks. Now, speaking of perfect Dino decks, talk to us a bit about more Dinomorphia stuff.
Well, Dinomorphia, of course, being a very popular archetype at the moment. I mentioned earlier how much I love the fact that back in Tearlament's time, I could use Master Change 2 with the Dark-type Dinomorphia cards to make Master Hero Darklaw, and then I decided, hey, maybe Master Hero Darklaw, while pretty good, there are other win conditions with the Dinomorphia deck, as we will go through shortly.
So this is your deck list that you're going to be using in the duel that we're about to see, because you are going to be doing this duel for us, showing some of these cards off.
Indeed, and there's the Miscellaneousaurus that you mentioned earlier, very, very prolific dinosaur card.
Only playing 2 though, why didn't you go for 3?
Well, I ran out of main deck space,
right,
if I'm honest with you. But also in addition to that, of course, with the Dinomorphia Theresia at 3, that is your ideal opener. Only running 2 of the Dinomorphia Diplos because he is not someone you really want to draw into. Rather, that is fusion material from your deck for your fusion traps, which are of course Dinomorphia Frenzy and Dinomorphia Domain.
Now I notice you also have quite a lot of the hand traps. You've got Ghost Spell and a Haunted Mansion, Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, and of course, Max C.
Technically also Infinite Impermanence.
And Imperm, yeah, the literal hand trap, I suppose, in this sense. So you've got quite a lot of disruption.
I also have some disruption repellent in the form of Dinomorphia Intact. As we discussed earlier, this is to guarantee that your fusions resolve by interrupting your opponent's Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring if they try to run interference. Actually, if they try to Ash the Dinomorphia Theresia, one of my favorite things to do is just to Miscellaneousaurus that.
See, such a useful card. That's why having it at 3 is exceptionally good.
And I'm talking about the fusion traps being the crux of the strategy for the Dinomorphia deck. The traps then lead into an extra deck full of fusion monsters.
Makes sense.
Dinomorphia Kentragina, of course, being a good bridge towards the other fusion that is really, really prominent in Dinomorphia, Dinomorphia Rexterm.
Now, Rexterm is that one. It's a very... I love the art of the card as well. It just looks fantastic.
Big dinosaur.
Big dinosaur. Who can argue with a big dinosaur?
Exactly that. You'll notice there is a third Dinomorphia fusion there as well, Dinomorphia Stealthbergia. Not really one that you will tend to summon out often, it's just that Dinomorphia Frenzy, the trap we mentioned earlier, it uses a Dinomorphia fusion monster as material to summon, and therefore, to access Rexterm, typically you'll use Frenzy to send Stealthbergia from your extra deck, and Diplos from your main deck.
Also notice you've got Psychic End Punisher in there as well, as on top of a bunch of really quite staple XEs. You've got Lagia, Dolka, Abyss Dweller. These are all very staple rank 4 XEs.
Psychic End Punisher is just really fun to use, honestly.
Sure.
And of course with the cards that you mentioned earlier, Ash Blossom, Joy of Spring, and Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion, level 3 tuners, you can use it, and then Dinomorphia Rexterm's level 8. Level 11, Psychic End Punisher. Your life points are typically very low because all of the Dinomorphia effects half your life points. Psychic End Punisher gains attack equal to the difference in life points.
Actually, so that is a really useful synergy to have there. Okay, well that's a pretty interesting deck, but now we have to see exactly how you're going to fare. Can you take the theory crafting into the real dueling world, Ibris?
Time will tell, Ed.
It certainly will.
There's something in their time, dinosaurs.
They're lost to time, like this duel will be. No?
No!
No, okay, sorry. Let's have more faith. Let's see exactly how Ibris is going to fare in a duel. Okay, you managed to win the coin toss, so that means you can go first with your trap deck.
And not only a trap deck, but a fusion deck, which means we get to see this Gaia the Dragon Champion come out once we use an extra deck monster.
How exciting.
Yes. Okay, that is a hand.
Now we're talking.
Okay, so one of my favorite things to do when you open both Theresia and Fossil Dig, you will use Fossil Dig to search out Miscellaneousaurus.
See.
This way, Theresia, if Ash Blossom comes down, has some insurance for her effect to resolve.
Perfect.
We also have Frenzy here, which is great, and I'll tell you why in a sec. So because we have Frenzy in hand, it means we can use Theresia to search for Dinomorphia Domain, the other Dinomorphia fusion trap. So, Dinomorphia Domain, bam. And the reason why we love having both of them is because if one gets disrupted, the other can resolve.
Okay.
And the best thing to do is to activate Domain first so that your opponent uses their disruption on that, so that Frenzy, the more versatile one, can actually resolve.
Well, it sounds like a strong start for you, Ibris.
Ultimately, though, it doesn't actually matter too much if Frenzy is disrupted and Domain resolves, because Kent Regina can still clone the interrupted Frenzy from your graveyard with her effect.
Good grief.
It's great.
Such synergy.
Yeah.
Dino synergy.
And it turns out Miscellaneousaurus works quite well with dinosaur-based decks.
Who knew?
Who knew indeed? Some drawing taking place.
Will it help?
Will it help indeed? Dare I activate my traps in response before they draw something to stop
All
me?
the trap deck expert here with Dinomorphia. Do you think it's smart?
I think so. So, as we mentioned before, we're going to use Domain first.
Okay.
See if there's an Ash Blossom. There is not.
So far.
So let's use Frenzy. Now again, as we mentioned before, Frenzy really crucial to resolve because it lets you access the Rexterm immediately. Rexterm needs a Dinomorphia extra deck monster as material, so you need the fusion trap that uses the extra deck.
Okay.
So here, we have a Diplos in hand, but having one in the graveyard is more valuable when we have Theresia out, as she can bring it back from the graveyard. And then as we mentioned earlier, the Stealthbergia is essentially in the fusion deck to be used as fusion material.
Gotcha.
So Rexterm goes there. We'll also resolve Domain to get Kent Regina out.
So at the moment, is this basically a perfect field?
I wouldn't say perfect per se. Also because Diplos was in my hand, that second copy, it means that I have to lose a card from my hand, which is never good when it could have just come from the deck, but it's still pretty good. Maybe we would have liked to have a different normal trap available in the graveyard, so that we could actually utilize this Kentrigina's effect to do something other than get a second copy of herself. Okay, see? The Ash Blossom was in the excavated cards, so we did well to immediately respond.
Yes, although are they going to pick the Ash Blossom?
Well, it wouldn't be super valuable now because we've already got what we needed. And if they try to Ash the Kentrigina's effect, we have our good friend Miscellaneousaurus.
Still at 3.
Yes, though I'm only using 2.
For some reason.
40 cards.
Oh, right.
Yes. Oh, also, Gaia Transform.
This is all good and well, mate. I'm trying to focus on whether you're winning or not.
Stake your soul.
Stake your soul.
So keep in mind that that doesn't have an activated effect, the monster, because it has more attack points than I have life points.
Okay.
I am going to just use Kentrigina's effect here. Yeah, just getting out another monster is always valuable. So we could go into Stealthurgia, but I'm more likely to just go into a second Kentrigina. More attack points. And some versatility.
I mean, already that's a heck of a field you've got there.
Indeed, plus 2, well, 1.5 disruptions if you count Miscellaneousaurus.
But I will say, if they have any capacity for burn damage.
Okay.
Do other monsters in this column?
So the activated effects won't resolve at the moment
Gotcha.
because this guy.
Ah.
Yeah. So Dinomorphia Rex Term is the main Dinomorphia win condition. Once it's out, the nullifying effect on your opponent's monsters is really, really valuable. And it's really difficult to play around.
It seems like the opponent
Not
is
impossible,
struggling a bit.
because you'll notice that both it and Kentrigina are dark type, which means I fear super polymerization. Very much so, in fact. And with Branded becoming a thing again, I'm very scared.
Small world.
Indeed. Unfortunately, this is not an Ash Blossom.
Nope. It's
It is
certainly
a Ghost Bell. What
What are you thinking?
I think we just let that resolve.
Yeah. That's all we can do.
So the Small World Bridge, Razen, and the Fire Tribute is shared with Ash Blossom. To add Kurakara Div Incarnate. Okay, this is quite scary now.
Yeah.
So, I've used 1 effect this turn. Okay, that's nice.
Bit of cell animation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, that is once per turn, so I'm safe from another. In the battle phase, I'll likely use Rex Term's effect to reduce that attack to 500, as well as my own life points.
How much will it reduce your life points by?
Half to 500, so then it will make this attack to 500.
Let's see what happens here. It's very nervy, because all they have to do is burn you for a teeny bit of damage. It's all over.
Okay, this is still fine. Still,
Just biding your time. Okay, you're in that battle phase. So now let's see you put your money where your mouth is.
okay, so the effect activation.
Very good stuff. So
There we go.
Kurikara is destroyed. They've also lost quite a bit of life points, but you're down to 500, which is still a little nervy.
Yep.
But it looks like you might have game on the field here.
So, while it is indeed a scary scenario, please keep in mind that all of the Dinomorphia effects of the traps, well, the normal traps, all of them have this bonus effect of if you are going to take effect damage when your life points are 2,000 or less, you can banish them from your graveyard to prevent that from happening. So here I have a few options. I could go into Psychic and Punisher, but I also don't want to lose Rex turn. I could normal summon the Miscellaneousaurus and see what we could do for a level 4, rank 4 Xyz.
You've got to think this through, because you've only got 500 life points there.
Yep.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking could go into Chaos Angel just to banish the face down. In fact,
just making sure you know what these cards are doing.
yep.
It's always important. There's no shame in reading cards.
Thank you. So I can go for game here.
Go for it. Let's see this happen. We're getting rid of Rex Term along with Ghost Bell.
Yeah, just
Just
I had
summon
checked
out.
that activated effect wasn't going to lose me the game. Psychic and Punisher.
Here we go. Oh no! Infinite Impermanence! Can you prevent that?
It's not a dinosaur, so no.
Oh no. Oh,
It's okay.
your
just
hubris.
just means we don't have game this turn.
Oh god. Okay.
Okay.
Well, you can. Yeah, just attack over, I guess.
Oh.
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 Oh. Unless it's going to fizzle.
Ah! While your LP are less than or equal to your opponent's, this Synchro Summon card is unaffected by your opponent's
Yay!
activated
I
effect.
forgot about that effect.
This is also an activated effect, by the way.
So it's not going to matter.
Hopefully not. Let's use that just in
activate it
case.
just in case.
Yeah.
You never know. There goes Domain, Chainlink 3.
So this should gain 5,000. Yeah.
Good
Okay,
grief!
there we go. And that is game.
Wow! I mean, exceptional.
I'm pretty happy with that.
Bravo, sir. Bravo. Truly showing what dinosaurs are capable of.
Yeah, I'm hoping everyone had as much fun watching that as I did playing it. Probably less fun than my opponent had, though. Or more fun
Certainly.
than my opponent had, actually.
I mean, for us, it's really exciting being able to show off dinosaurs on here. And what a show this has been for us, because getting to show off Transcendentalism and also, you know, Gold Pride and everything, well, those are all good. But for us, we're big dino fans. So this has been the most exciting show for us.
Yeah, really, really glad to see such a ideally suited secret pack.
I think so. And obviously, great display, as usual. But thank you so much to all of you guys who've tuned in to watch this month in Master Duel. We've been so excited to talk about this week, and we hope you guys have enjoyed the show. Log in right now and make sure you guys get your hand on the new selection pack and also that new secret pack as well. And we will see you guys next time.